Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what was your "this person is on another level" of stupid moment? I locked my purse with my keys and cell phone in my apartment. I went to the office to ask maintenance to let me in. The woman at the desk said she would call maintenance and asked for a phone number they could reach me at. I said there wasn't one because my cell phone was locked in my apartment. She insisted she needed a number. I said I could give her the number but that I wouldn't be able to answer if they called. She suggested I get my phone out of my apartment so that I could answer when they called. I rolled my eyes at her and said if I could get in my apartment to get my cell phone I wouldn't need maintenance to let me in. She never did understand me. But maintenance did show up 10 minutes later. Reminds me of the time my cell phone completely died, wouldn't power on even if I charged it, so I called Apple support. Guy asked what's wrong with my phone. I told him it won't turn on. He asks me to power it on so we could troubleshoot. I tell him it won't turn on. He sighs and tell me he won't be able to diagnose the problem if I won't cooperate and power on my phone for him. To be fair to that guy, he's probably used to the type of people that think their phone shuts off when the screen goes to sleep. I hate calling customer support for any technical issues. The first 10 minutes of me saying I did that already but I'll do it for you again. I had a similar situation when I locked my keys in my car and had to call UMA, roadside assistance, and the lady asked for my UMA number. I explained that it was in my wallet which was in my car, and she asked me to retrieve it. I explained several times but she never did seem to understand, but she told me that I would be in big trouble if the tow truck driver came and I didn't have a number. He never even asked me for it, cause they're not directly employed by UMA. I once worked in a Midwestern grocery store deli and I was trying to explain to a woman that the name brand and generic brand of the macaroni salad that we carried were in fact identical. The woman yelled at me saying she could only have the generic brand because one is made with mayo and the other is made with mayonnaise and I don't like mayo. When I tried to explain that mayo is an abbreviation of mayonnaise, she just said I'm from the South, I know my food and tutted away. She is going to be in for a shock when she goes to the pharmacy for her prescription of mayonnaise. I got a concussion a while back. A friend of mine told me not to come close because it might be contagious. They weren't kidding. A girl in my school had gotten about 3 concussions within a year and, when she hit her head the 4th time, and blacked out for a minute, refused to go to the doctor because last time they said if I got another concussion it could cause brain damage, so I'm not going to let them give me another one. Edit. Because so many people saw this and are asking, no, she did not play any sports, she was just incredibly stupid and clumsy even before the first one. I think the third one might have done it for her. Ex-flatmate cancelled the gas and electricity contract because it was too expensive. Wondered why we had no more electricity nor gas. She thought we paid €90 a month to get a hotline 24/7 in case of problem. Trying to help a dumb person is just an exercise in futilities. But they took away the utilities. I was friends with a couple who only had enough money to pay either the cable bill or the electricity. They paid the cable. A couple days later the power was turned off. Reminds me of choosing beer over toilet paper. I worked at a restaurant and we had a dish that was just a whole grilled chicken, chopped into pieces. A woman who ordered for delivery called us, absolutely scathing, complaining that her order of 1 whole chicken only contained 2 chicken breasts. Had to explain to grown-ass women that chicken only have 2 breasts. Edit. To clarify, the rest of the chicken was also there. She was just expecting more than 2 chicken breasts. She stated this clearly to both me and my manager, who she insisted she speak to over this inconvenience. She wanted some of that Total Recall chicken. Make her wish she had 3 mouths. I also work at a restaurant. A couple years back, we actually got a delivery of weird mutated chickens that had 3 breasts. I mean, it looked odd but we actually thought it was really cool, extra meat, you know. Unfortunately the supplier was worried about food safety so did a total recall on the whole batch. I had to explain to a girl why you could grow your hair down in front of your face and just cut out eye holes. Even explaining it her she could grasp it and brushed me off as being too smart. This is my favorite one, lol. It took me a second. Glad I'm not alone, haha. I worked at a pet store in college. This customer asked me which food would make his pit bull swole. I suggested a high-protein food with a good amount of exercise but advised that a lot of it was determined by the dog's genetics. He asked me if we sold genetics. Dude, you're so dumb. One genetics is like $5. Why didn't you give the man his 2 geneticses? Rescued a co-worker on the side of the road with a flat tire, waiting for the tow truck. I pointed out the nail at the top of their tire. They scoffed and looked at me like I was the stupidest person in the world and exclaimed, "That's not true BC, it's flat at the bottom." I just walked away and never brought it up again. Gosh, what an idiot. Nails are always flat on the top. Except those pesky left-handed nails. I had a bucket of nails one time that was almost 50% left-handed. I was friends with a guy who believed those fake Apple adverts like Apple Wave microwave your phone for instant battery charge. I was so dumbfounded that he actually fell for it. When I saw him the week after and he had a new phone, it all clicked for me. At least he's got the money to fund his idiocy. Not everyone that buys a new phone every year can actually afford it. My wife's cousin and her husband / not baby daddy of her unborn child fell on self-induced hard times and needed a place to stay for a bit. We set up a queen-sized air mattress in the living room for them. For 3 weeks I woke up to go to work and every morning saw them sleeping on it sideways with their legs hanging off the edge. Then one day she asked me to buy her a bigger air mattress because this one was hard on their backs. I told her to turn her body, the fucking thing even has a built-in pillow on one end. Her response was that then they couldn't see the TV. Then fucking turn the air mattress to face the TV. That's the story of how I became an asshole to the trailer trash side of the family. The bad part is that it's only one of many stories. The husband was a cook at Applebee's. The baby daddy was a cook at Applebee's, and her new husband was another cook from the same fucking Applebee's. All working together. Did she also work at Applebee's? Also, was this in Crosby, TX by chance? I've heard some messed up stuff about that Applebee's. Yes, she was a hostess. No, not Crosby, but you are scary close. Like uncomfortably close. I mean, clearly her hookup / dating strategy worked at least 3 times. Why change it up with such a track record? There was a brief 4th Applebee's cook I left out. He's the one she officially left her husband for when pissed off at the baby daddy. Yes, I realize that statement makes absolutely no sense. To be fair, his main job was selling cocaine though. He just did the Applebee's gig on the side to keep the man off his trail. I used to work with a girl who was sweet but so dumb. We were in a meeting once and somehow someone mentioned baked ham. My manager said I hate ham. It looks like human flesh. The girl I mentioned was sitting next to me and looked horrified and whispered, "Does ham really come from people?" I'd be more worried about the manager that knows what cooked human flesh looks like. When I served in the King's African Rifles, the local Zambezi tribesmen called human flesh long pig. Never much cared for it. Dated a guy till we watched Titanic. He thought the movie was stupid because the boat sank. It wasn't believable. You can't recover from that. Ever. It's such a stupid premise, though. Boats don't sink, they float. Everyone knows that, that's the whole reason for having a boat to begin with. Lol, the Titanic was just folklore, huh? Well, they did say it was unsinkable. They said right in the movie the ship was unsinkable, and then at the end the ship sank. I don't understand how people can look past such glaring plot holes. Spent 7 years working for TSA. Had a pretty sweet detail where I would assist passengers who did not have ID or assist TSA agents if they had questions about the validity of the given ID. I get a call on the radio asking for assistance in verifying an ID. I come over and ask what the issue is. Agent hands me a driver's license and says can't accept this Canadian ID. Hearing this, I assume it's expired or the wrong name. I take a look and see that it is an Alaskan driver's license. I quickly approve the passenger and send them on their way. I then spent 10 minutes explaining that A, Canadian DLs are acceptable according to TSA regulations, and B, Alaska has never been a Canadian territory. This co-worker has a master's degree in mathematics and served 25 years in the US Air Force. It's dumbfounding how people can be so high-functioning in some areas and leave you bewildered as to how they even managed to survive to adulthood in others. I think the bigger issue is that he has a master's degree in math and works for TSA. This story is in good faith. I was asking my friend, Jay, when he learned about 9/11s. He started telling me this specific story of how he walked outside and saw smoke everywhere and how he asked his mom about it. He claimed she said planes hit the towers. I stared at him, just silently taking in the story. We live in the Midwest, there was no way he saw the debris from the towers. Also, we were born in 2003. Edit, do I really have to defend Jay? Y'all, he wasn't purposefully lying. It was most likely a fake memory, so he thought he was telling the truth. It was just a fun dumb moment I thought I would share. Your story reminded me of a 9/11's experience I heard from two college freshmen. The first guy asks his friend where he was on 9/11's and he says Philadelphia. He was telling this guy how he saw one of the planes hit the Pentagon. From Philadelphia. Then the first guy asks what the Pentagon is. The second guy says it's like a wrestling venue in New York City. SMH. He just can't keep his shapes straight. Madison Square Garden equals Pentagon equals the pyramids equals a baseball diamond equals a boxing ring. They're all just shapes.